Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 tips for composition to help you to create better paintings and drawings, and they're super simple. But first I want to thank Eva D for buying me a coffee through Ko-fi. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you very much. If anyone else would like to support my channel by buying me a coffee, I will leave the link to Ko-fi below. Definitely not a have to, but it really does help me out, and it all goes back into the channel to help me create better content. So thank you in advance, and I'll give you a shout out in the next video. Thank you also to the people who left a lot of your really very helpful feedback on my last watercolor tutorial on how to improve future videos. I'm definitely going to be using your comments in my next watercolor tutorial, so be sure to let me know if there's anything I can do to improve my channel, because obviously I'm very new at this and I would love to have some constructive feedback. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Shelby Lynn. I'm the artist behind Shaking Bird Art. I specialize in portraits, pet portraits, fine art commissions, and private art lessons for people like you. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and all those good things. Thank you. I'm going to be using this recent watercolor painting of a nuthatch as an example for you, because I used all 3 techniques I'm going to be talking about in it today. The cool thing is these techniques work both for artists and photographers. So if you're a photographer, don't go away. You could still use this stuff. Of course, there are always going to be exceptions to these rules, but they are extremely useful, and I think make your job a little bit easier as an artist to create compositions that are both powerful and that just work better. It just makes your job a little bit easier if you've got these little fallbacks to work with. And once you know them, then you can learn how to break them like a boss. So without further ado, let's get into it. So beginning with rule number 3, composition through color. So warm colors advance, cool colors recede. Think of mountains that get blue as they go into the distance, but when you're up close, they're often red and green and all sorts of different colors. In this particular painting, I emphasized the bright orange and warmer blues and violets on the nuthatch because it's the focus of the painting, whereas the branch consists of a lot more cooler, it uses a lot of cool blues and purples and greens just to balance out the warms and the cools. The eye is more likely to gravitate to something warm than cool, which doesn't mean you can't have like a blue subject in a painting, but you'll have to figure out how to balance that accordingly. And that's, a subject for another video. Cool colors are often heavier than warm colors, as well as darker colors will create more weight than light colors. So the branch being cooler and darker weighs down that side of the painting, whereas the nuthatch, who is warm and uses a slightly lighter tone, it causes it to have a sort of a lighter feeling, which also directs the focus to the bird. Thirdly, I employed a lot of complementary colors in this particular painting, specifically blue and orange, which complementary colors, if you didn't know, are opposites on a color wheel, which means that they go really well together, and if you combine them, they neutralize. They look really good together. A lot of companies will use these in packaging, like for foods and stuff, because they work. It looks really good. So in this case, I used, my main complements were blue and orange, but I also utilized purple and gold, which also look really good together. If you would like to see a video devoted entirely to color theory for beginners, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I'll make it happen. Rule of composition number 2, avoid diagonals that exit a corner evenly. This one is more of a thou shalt not rule than a thou shalt. Diagonals are a very powerful tool in composition. The eye follows them really easily. You can use them to transfer focus from one side of a painting to another. You can use them to block focus to a particular part of the painting which may not be important, or funnel interest into a particular area. Because they are so powerful though, there is one very strong rule to be aware of, is that you should pretty much never ever let a diagonal exit a corner of your painting evenly, which means it goes directly outside the corner of your painting, because this will cause the viewer's gaze to follow that diagonal up and out of your painting and into the next thing that's visually appealing, which may not be your particular artwork, and you don't want that. So avoid going directly through the corner. The way I avoided this in my own painting is that I actually altered the original reference photo a little bit so that the branch tilts a little bit more towards the right than in the photo. This, although it is pointing at the corner, it's not even at the corner. It's more up and down than to the left. So this avoids that deadly fail of throwing the viewer's interest straight out the side. And depending on what you're painting yourself, you can also, like, maybe there's something that has to be there. You can create either lights or other like branches or whatever you're doing as a visual block, which will stop the viewer's eye at the corner and then continue their gaze back through the painting in a cyclical pattern if you can't help that particular angle, which sometimes you can't, but it's just a good thing to be aware of. Okay, drum roll. Rule number 1 of composition that we're talking about today is going to be the rule or the law of thirds. This one is so powerful. I talk about it all the time with my private art students. I can't say it enough. It also takes a lot of the guesswork out of placing your subjects on paper or canvas, and it's just a really good tool to have in your bucket of knowledge for art and photography. And the reason why it works is our brains are just wired to see threes and thirds as more attractive or interesting. And artists have been using this particular quirk of our brains for a very long time. This rule actually goes all the way back to, checking my note, to 1797, when John Thomas Smith first wrote about it in his book Remarks on Rural Scenery. Thanks, Wikipedia. And artists have been using it ever since to intentionally either draw focus to or away from things in their compositions, or to create a proper balance in their painting or drawing. For example, in my painting, the focus is the nuthatch, and I wanted to emphasize that. So the eye of the nuthatch was placed on the intersection of 2 third lines. And I do that in a lot of my portraiture as well, as one of the eyes will be on a line, an intersection of third lines on the page somewhere. The tail also follows a vertical third line up and down on the right side of the painting. It's just a good thing to keep things on a line of thirds. Also, the branch itself exists mainly on the 2/3 section on the left, which means that it's going to help weigh down that particular area of the painting, which is less important. And it also gives you a balance of interest between the nuthatch, which is warm, bright, and light on 1/3, and then we have the heavier, darker branch on the other 2/3. And I think that kind of lightly covers the rule of thirds. Of course, there are some subjects in which this will not work for you. There are many more rules to cover, or rules, suggestions, laws, call it what you will, that I'm not mentioning here today. Play around with these things. It's meant to help you, not make it more complicated. And I hope you found this video useful. Thank you all for joining me and for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed making it for you. As always, if you have any ideas for other videos and subjects you would like to see me cover, or materials and products you would like a review on, or just constructive comments on how to improve my channel and the quality of my videos, please leave all your comments below. I love reading your comments, and they sure are helpful for me, so thank you. Also, don't forget to connect with me on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you use any of these rules, if you try them that I've talked about with you today, send me pictures of what you did. I'd love to see if they helped you at all. So thanks again for joining me, and I hope to see you in another video.